look at my life, I'm a lot like you are. Old man, take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you are. Old man, take a look at my life, 54 years of crack and whores, stumbling around the house, cutting business deals with you. I'm lost on the sauce, really got my wires crossed, like when you get completely lost, as you often do. In your eyes, falling down, your pants are brown, spending days in such a haze and totally confused, living life completely gassed. Look at all the time that's passed. Often I'll also fill my pants with the number 2. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you are. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you are.
Click Rumble Premium and join now for $99 annually or $9.99 a month to get the entirely ad-free experience and exclusive content from Louder with Crowder, Nick DiPaolo, Mr. Guns and Gear, Donald Trump Jr., and an ever-expanding roster of content, creators, and free speech. That's nice. Little post-Thanksgiving sip there. Glad to be with you. Have a good Thanksgiving? Anyone, any murders committed?
I mean,
out there with all the fam?
Allegedly!
You know, no. You love them. 6 feet under. So let's talk about, there's a lot that we'll be taking some chat later today, of course, on Rumble Premium Mug Club, where you can tell us about your Thanksgiving. And we'll also be talking about BRICS today, not Hans Bricks. A couple of things to get to. You all know that the big guy has pardoned Hunter Biden. Okay, we'll talk about what that means, how this has happened, a little bit of then and now. And the new person who's going to be heading up the FBI, Kash Patel. That's a big one. We actually have some, there's a little bit of a direct connection here with what we have done and some of the things that Kash Patel has done in the past. So I actually think it's pretty good sign of things to come. Also, do you know what is before the Supreme Court right now? Chase Strangio. We're going to get into that. A case that could involve you being stripped of your parental rights and children being taken away if you do not allow them to transition. So when the left says, hey, why are you making it an issue right before the Supreme Court? Right now, well, in the next couple of months, that's going to be decided. Children transitioning, if they have the right, and if you have the right as a parent to still be their guardian if you say no. We'll get into that and more. And at some point today, since we'll be talking about Dr. Strangio, you probably on YouTube will see this, which means head to Rumble. It's a live show, weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. And let me ask you this, with the pardoning of Hunter Biden, hey, all bets are off. Who should Donald Trump pardon first, outside of himself?
Can you do that?
Do it for fun.
Right?
You can symbolically.
Yeah. I pardon myself.
Just
and
pardon.
every January 6th person,
Yep.
free to go.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do. Just pardon all of them. Yeah, you let me know. So when you, I was gonna introduce Josh first, but I'll introduce Gerald first. Captain Morgan, number 2 CEO. How are you?
I am well, and Merry Christmas, by the way.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Oh, that's right.
we
This is
can
the first
say
time we
that.
have all the lights up. I forgot.
There you go.
Yeah, we do it. Every year here.
Are you excited? I know it's your favorite.
Energy
time
bill
of
goes
year.
up. I do like Christmas. I'm a big fan.
Goes up by
Thanksgiving.
75 cents, Ebenezer. Come on, you're post redemption arc, Ebenezer, right now.
Really?
I'm sorry, pre.
Next, you're gonna request more coal for the fire?
Yes, I am, because it's very useful.
Well, you will be roasted with your own Thanksgiving turkey. With a steak of holly through your heart when you hear this.
Come on.
You know I'm going to love them. Friday, Saturday, December 27th, 28th, Tacoma Comedy Club in Tacoma. Josh Firestine, how are you?
I'm good. It was a good Thanksgiving, all things considered.
Well,
My wife sliced off her finger.
I know you
peeling
showed
potatoes.
it to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like lumpy potatoes, but I think it was a bit much.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Secret sauce.
No, but it was all good considering, and it was
He kept
it
the
was a bloody
skins in these mashed
Thanksgiving.
potatoes.
Yeah. Yeah. Garlic mash, you got to keep the skins.
I hope she's doing okay. Also, the flu started running through my household.
Oh,
so.
no. That's that season, I guess.
She can't get into her iPhone, but she's fine.
Aunt, Uncle, I hope you're doing well. They're watching from home. They were going to come here today and be here live. So, hey, something really quickly. Same-sex couples, I don't know if you know this, they're rushing right now to get married and have children pre-Trump presidency, according to NBC News, because they're very concerned. So I believe you have this overlay F. NBC News, yeah, they're rushing to get married and have children. So take Ben Nelson and Adam Weinberger, for example, part of this article, who are one of many gay couples in recent weeks rushing to get married, start fertility treatments, and take other measures out of fear that some of their rights might be rescinded during a second Trump administration, according to NBC. Now, they did realize this was a fruitless endeavor. However, upon being made aware that Donald Trump was the first president ever to be supportive of gay marriage at the beginning of his presidency in his first term, along with the medical fact that no matter how hard they try, butt babies are not a thing, it turns out. So, hey, you know what? You can rush.
That's
Oh my gosh, the first openly pro-gay marriage president at his inauguration in the first term is going to have a second term? I'm defecting!
Yeah, I think rushed babyhood is good.
No, I don't at all.
Can you imagine if we didn't have to wait 9 months? Well, I guess we could adopt if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Shoot, never mind.
That's like
I could.
What do you think the gay guys are doing?
It's well, you know, they're IVF for gay, whatever. So
It is child abuse, in my opinion, but hey.
just talk about the fear mongering, and we're going to get to that too with Kash Patel. The left wants you to believe that the right is fear mongering. They think the world is coming to an end. You have gay people rushing to get married. They think Donald Trump's going to outlaw gay marriage.
Do you think
Barack Obama was against gay marriage when he was president. And then he changed his mind. Donald Trump was the first person inaugurated who said, "Sure, the queers can get married. I don't care."
when gay guys adopt a baby, is it a rescue?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
They go down to the
Needs be
shelter?
rescued.
Is it like a dog? Yeah.
On the wings of an angel.
That's Sound of Freedom Part 2.
Yeah, that's the gay version. Although it's already pretty gay. Sarah McLachlan's a lesbian, right?
I don't know. Is she?
I don't know. I guess
I don't know.
their gay rescue, the commercial will be, "Come to my window." That's the other lesbian. I don't know.
Melissa Etheridge.
That's it.
I would have never guessed.
She's a lesbian, right? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she is.
Oh, yeah. Real big. Real. Yeah.
Real butch.
Well, that's because she's been drinking too much tap water. Now,
Loves the chicks.
let's get to the big guy and Hunter Biden. In pardoning his third turkey this week, Biden has given his son immunity. Those on audio missed it.
Yep, missed out.
Which brings us to now, for people who have not been following this. NBC, let's just show their clip explaining former Vice President Joe Biden's pardon.
Good evening. We're coming on the air with breaking news, first reported by NBC News. President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, ahead of the end of his presidential term. That's according to a senior White House official with direct knowledge of the decision. Remember, Hunter Biden was convicted back in June on 3 separate felony charges related to his purchase of a gun in 2018, a time during which prosecutors say he was battling a drug addiction and lied about it on paperwork to get that gun. It was the first time a sitting president's child was convicted of a crime. Hunter Biden also pleaded guilty to federal tax charges in September.
I love how they don't mention that he threw the gun in a dumpster near a school. It's like
he had someone do it for him.
That's right. That's right. He had someone do it for him.
He has people for that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a lady for that.
You'd think like, I lied on a background check for a gun. That's where maybe I will say this. I don't want to vilify mom and pop gun shop owners, but, maybe conduct the eyeball test when he's there.
It's like fitting.
You check that you've never once used marijuana, but are you on meth now?
Yeah. More guns.
No. Give me a gun. Please, give me a gun.
I need it right now for something.
I don't want it. I don't even want it. I don't want to keep your gun. I don't want to go. Okay, please give me a gun. So this brings us back to, you may be confused because the pardon is happening. You're going, wait a second. Did I dream that? Because back then, former Vice President Joe Biden, respect the office, denied many times that he would ever pardon Hunter.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's
gay wedding cake, Diane Keaton.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no.
How annoyed is she?
I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Will he pardon his son? No.
Okay, so here's the thing. This wouldn't really be a story if they didn't lie repeatedly and blatantly. I get it. Look, if it was my son, I'd probably pardon him.
Yeah.
Of course, so would I.
What's a few crack whores?
Yeah, what do you want from me? I love him. I love my kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Just say that.
Yeah. You make, it's like if your kid steals something from the store. It's like if your kid's crack, you make him walk it back to the drug dealer. Like, now give it back to the nice man and tell him you're sorry.
And that's the thing. We all feel that way. I feel like we all would be reasonably, say, oh, yeah, that's reasonable.
Of course.
But then that little of a lie.
Yeah, exactly. It
means you lie about everything.
The issue is the lying, and then the justification for this, which just, again, the left, have you noticed this? And you can comment below. They overuse the term gaslighting. They want to simply sell you a bill of goods that is the opposite of reality. That's what Joe Biden did. He claimed that Hunter was singled out just because it was his. Let me read you what he wrote. He wrote, "No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion that Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that's wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they tried to break me, my hip. And there's no reason to believe it will stop here." Well, yeah, there is. But again, the idea that he was singled out, no. Again, this was the reality is this person wasn't convicted of crimes exclusively because he was protected by Joe Biden. Remember, Hunter used the Biden family name to make deals with Burisma and a Chinese energy company. That's where you heard about the 10% for the big guy, who, of course, is Joe Biden. The media says we don't know who the big guy is because they don't want to investigate it, but it's quite clear that it's Joe Biden. There is no other big guy. Yeah. Now, though, Hunter is gone.
I think I'll sleep with my brother's wife today. The hookers I see need to look a certain way. Sometimes I wake to my crack pipes hollow clink. Millions in crooked business. I've got Burisma to thank. I'm a body above the legal system, I ride. I'm partying while my dad's still alive. Partying, 'cause my dad's the big guy.
So President Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social, and I will say he did really put Joe Biden in a tough situation.
Oh, yeah.
by saying that he may pardon Hunter. So this is one of those things where Joe Biden was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. There was really no good play, but Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. He said, "Does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the January 6 hostages who have now been imprisoned for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice."
What? And to lose your voice at the end there?
If Joe Biden didn't pardon his own son, imagine the other guy coming around and sunning you. That's what Donald Trump would have done. So I think a big reason for him pardoning Hunter is just because he didn't want to actually allow Donald Trump to pardon Hunter, because this actually was in October 2024. Sorry for the bad audio. Donald Trump was with Hugh Hewitt and floated the idea that he maybe would pardon him.
Will you pardon Hunter Biden?
I wouldn't take it off the books. See, unlike Joe Biden, despite what they've done to me, they've gone after me so viciously, despite what, and Hunter's a bad boy. There's no question about it. He's been a bad boy. All you have to do is see the laptop from hell. But I happen to think it's very bad for the country.
Oh, I almost forgot, though, the kicker, the pardon, right? You kind of can pick a start and end date. Does anyone here know when this pardon effectively kicks in?
I do.
You do? Okay, anyone but Gerald knows. He's the kind of guy who asks for more homework. Does anyone here know?
No, I didn't know you could time it out like that.
Okay, all right, Gerald. When does the pardon effectively begin?
The year that Hunter Biden took a seat on the board of Burisma?
Oh, okay, that's right. It's almost like that's right. Like there's a reason for it.
2014.
So now Donald Trump can pardon pretty much whoever he wants. Comment below. Who would you like to see first? Obviously, the January 6th hostages.
Sixers, yep.
Pretty much all Jan. Yeah, you know what? All Jan Sixers. Every single one. There shouldn't be anyone in prison for vandalism. How about that? For trespassing. There shouldn't be anyone who is having their rights infringed upon. You should be convicted. You should face the penalty for that kind of crime in the same way that anyone else. It needs to be commensurate with everything that we know about these crimes and everyone else, every precedent that we've seen. And none of these people should have been doing the time that they did in prison. Hey, remember once upon a time you couldn't say that because everyone was concerned, said, well, I don't have nothing to do with January 6th. You know what? I don't care. It's not 9/11 too. I don't care. They shouldn't have been treated the way that they were, and they should be pardoned. You can comment. Do you agree? Comment below. You think that's an extremist? Am I?
No.
That's me, Mr. Extremist.
Far less egregious than this,
Nice
though, right?
candy.
Because they were running on the campaign that it was the law and order president versus the lawless president. They had weaponized the Justice Department to go after Donald Trump specifically and tried to paint Joe Biden as the next George Washington, saying, I won't even pardon my son because I'll respect law and order. And then all of it is a sham and a lie. Not only the prosecution, but the fact that he would not pardon his son. Like,
yes.
This is... He should pardon his son. I would absolutely do it.
Of
I
course.
don't care if it burned my political career to the ground. I would do it.
Right.
But don't go out there and say, no, you had a perfect response. Not sure.
Yeah.
Like when you get asked the question.
He just lied about it all. He pulled a John Q. Like, I'm not going to pardon my son. My son's going to pardon me. Remember, the guy who's been pardoned here. Let's give it some context. This is the guy who was sexting his niece. This is the guy who was smoking drywall, repeatedly smoking crack. This is the guy who was sleeping with his brother's wife. That's not a crime. I get it. Putting penis M&Ms, that whole thing, comparing his M&Ms to penis. They were M&M minis, just to be clear.
Yeah, man.
And a guy who was making shady business deals with international government, effectively, I should say, extension of government organizations, saying that he would kick it back to his dad, and yes, illegally purchased a firearm, and yes, illegally had it disposed of in a way that would be felonious for anyone else. So this is the guy who's being pardoned, who they say was selectively prosecuted. Here's the thing. Not only did all these things happen, it's known. He was caught. Think about that. He was caught, and nothing happened. And now we have a pardon. You think this is just because of selective prosecution? I don't know. I would think what happened with Donald Trump and the DOJ, I would think him being tried for crimes that no one else in his state has ever been charged or convicted of, and given the kind of, well, potentially prison time right at one point in time, given the kind of sentence that no one else has ever faced. And according to the DOJ spokesperson, who you heard right here, said they're just stacking anything they can to try and render this guy ineligible for office. I think that's more selective prosecution. Remember, this guy who was pardoned is the same drywall head who was sexting his niece.
Sexed your niece once, shame on you.
Yes. Sexed your niece twice. Yeah. Again? I didn't know this happened multiple times.
And the third time's a charming pervert.
Yes. Exactly.
And pedophile.
And your favorite uncle. Now.
Hey, it's Uncle Hunter. Want to see my messed up teeth again?
Hold on, let me...
He's just garbage. I mean, look, people make mistakes, but just look at the laundry list.
Oh, man.
He's just a garbage person. Let's just be honest about this. And the left, of course, wanted him to be propped up so that he could probably run for some kind of office or be a public figure. And, of course, we all know the cocaine in the White House. Like, take a guess. Now...
It doesn't narrow it down, actually, in the White
House. No, you're right. It really doesn't. We're going to move on to Kash Patel and the FBI, which I'm actually really excited about. Before that, CrowderShop.com, 30% off site-wide right now. No promo code. It's like a Cyber Monday deal.
Cyber Monday sale, 30%. Go to CrowderShop.com. Get all your stuff right now. And you know what shirt's probably on there?
What?
It's a Christmas movie, Stephen. Every single year,
I don't want to
have this conversation. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I don't know. I don't want to do it.
Go find the shirt.
It's not. It's not.
It is.
It's not a Christmas movie.
It is.
It's on Christmas.
Okay, fine.
And Nagasaki Plaza. That's a typical Christmas location.
It is.
Yes,
they
it
do
is.
a tree lighting ceremony there. It's beautiful. Why would you?
He says ho, ho, ho. He has a machine gun.
Yeah. What?
Does Santa come in that movie?
There is a Santa Claus in that movie. Shut up,
does
Tim.
he deliver presents?
Shut up, Tim.
Presents. Does anyone open presents?
You know what the present is?
Is there any joy of Christmas morning?
There is.
Well,
really?
Yeah, don't you know Santa's like catchphrase? Yippee-ki-yay, mother. He comes down the chimney, he says it.
All right. We'll get to trans Santa in a second with the Supreme Court case. But Kash... So, right, you've heard about this. Kash Patel is going to be leading the FBI, right? And this is the new, or at least this is what we think. This is the new choice. Now, the left is... And I want to be clear about something. The left is losing their mind. We'll show you. They constantly complain about the cabinet picks and the lack of experience, right? You'll see this in all the leftist shows, podcasts. This is clown world. That's what they're trying to, they're trying to commandeer that now, trying to co-opt it. It's clown world. Look at these people. These people don't have experience. What they really mean is that these people are not embedded career politicians in the swamp. So if you believe that the only people who have the experience to work in government have to have worked in government their entire life, then I will say this. You are definitively opposed to the vision of this country. You understand that, right? Mm-hmm. You understand that this country was not meant to be built around career politicians and lobbyists and a revolving door of appointments and certainly people who are not elected. That's actually antithetical to the vision of this country. I just want to make sure that you understand that. So that is the reason that the left is furious about Kash Patel, and we'll get to his history in a little bit, which also makes him even more mad. So he was picked, I believe, on Saturday to be the FBI director, and here you will see the left's predictable meltdown.
We are learning more about Donald Trump's controversial decision to pick firebrand loyalist Kash Patel to lead the FBI.
Here comes Kash Patel again, somebody that I find it hard to believe Republican senators won't be deeply disturbed by.
How concerned should the media,
racist whites,
America be about the selection in your estimation?
Well, I think they ought to be very concerned. I think we ought to take Kash Patel at his word.
Well, look, I mean, there's certainly a infinite amount of picks right now that are bad that this administration has put in, and Kash Patel is among the very worst of it.
Okay, so he's among the very worst. Let's get to those reasons as to why he is among the very worst. And spoiler alert, you may actually think, well, that makes him the best. Exactly. So here's Trump posting about this on Truth Social. He said, I am proud to announce that Kash Patel will serve as the next director of the FBI. He'll serve. Kash is a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and America First fighter who has spent his career exposing corruption, defending justice, and protecting the American people. He played a pivotal role in uncovering the Russia hoax. I say Russia hoax because it's like Jan Brady. It's a good nickname. I say Russia 3 times. Standing as an advocate for the truth, accountability, and the Constitution. So now he actually will have 2 Indians in his cupboard cabinet. He's going to be very so tiny, yet mighty. Kash. That movie sucks, by the way, if you go back and watch it. It does not hold up. He did actually, by the way, serve. So this idea that he has no experience, he served in the Trump administration previously. He was a senior aide to the House Intelligence Committee. He was deputy director of national intelligence and chief of staff to Defense Secretary Chris Miller. Something that's interesting, too, they say loyalist. Well, you tell me if this is a virtue or if this is a problem. He was targeted with the Mar-a-Lago case, and he was offered immunity to testify and refused.
Yeah.
Think about that. And where we are is when you look at what they are saying, the left is people like Kash Patel, which, by the way, Patel is like Smith for Indians. I know like 20 Indians with the last name Patel.
The Ramirez of the Indians.
Yes, Ramirez. Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel. This really does show you that there is a distrust of intelligence agencies and something needs to be done. You were once accused of being a conspiracy theorist or a radical extremist if you thought we needed to disband the FBI, if you thought we needed to completely restructure the FBI. Remember, that was considered mistrust in your institutions and basically treason, right? You were afraid of speaking out against that, or many people were, maybe not you right now, lest you be accused of insurrection. And here we are with people who represent that point of view in government. Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah. And by the way, who's he supposed to pick? Somebody diametrically opposed to his vision for the country? Like, the American people voted for Donald Trump and his vision for this country.
Yeah.
And honestly, you can't say, and you can argue about the pick, you can't say Marco Rubio is a loyalist. You can't say, like we said, Tulsi Gabbard is a loyalist. You can't say Robert F. Kennedy is a loyalist. These people have been outside of his sphere for a long time. They're not exactly people who have been tracking with Trump over the years, right? But they have a vision for what he has a vision for. So that works, and there's an alignment there.
Also, his resume makes sense. Deputy director of the intelligence?
Yeah, it makes sense.
They say he's inexperienced, but his resume lines right up, dude.
What I will say does not make sense, speaking of RFK Jr., is deep frying a turkey for Thanksgiving in tallow. I support that.
It's fine.
Without shoes.
Well,
did you see him do this?
Wait,
I'm going to fry this in beef tallow. And then you're like, you're not wearing shoes around boiling fat?
He said,
hot.
have you heard my voice? I'd rather go out if I can.
What are you drinking? The beef tallow? But as far as
heroin for 15 years, Stephen.
You guys can take a victory lap. You out there right now. These picks are representative of you. When you add it up in hundreds of millions of views and tens of millions of you people, where you all, there was an outcry, said, yeah, you know what? We agree. We need to fundamentally change and transform our three-letter agencies. That was once considered a radical position. Now you have people who share your position because you made your voices heard in government. Actually, this is a flashback to me talking quite a bit about it on this show. I will not support anyone who does not have a plan in place to deal with our intelligence agencies. Some of them are good, and either disband or a very, very concrete plan. We talked about it with...
is that the same shirt?
Is it the same shirt?
Wow, that might be.
It looks like, yeah.
Like
it looks like he just took off holsters real quick.
We took the fig shirt gone for the dunce cap. And of course, CNN had to touch on this, and they're not able to comprehend it. Americans have a lack of trust for the FBI.
Well, there's a lack of trust in the FBI with the American people, and that's exactly what we saw with Donald Trump getting elected. And with Kash, I mean, he has worked national security roles. In fact, he was a prosecutor at the DOJ with the national security under Obama. He's worked with Democrats. He's worked with Republicans. Donald Trump wants change agents. And I think the fact that people here in D.C. insiders, people within the FBI perhaps, don't want Kash is a really good sell to the American people.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. And then they went on to say, well, I don't know. We trust. Isn't it funny that those in the left, they support people in the military, they support people in intelligence agencies and law enforcement pushing pencils, but not those carrying guns? Who do you think has your best interest? Who do you think goes in for the right reasons? Someone who wants to, and I'm not saying that people can't serve their country at a desk. That's not what I'm saying. But when you look at the Comeys of the world, when you look at the Millies, people like that, hey, it's a little bit different from the boots on the ground, and they have very differing viewpoints. So here's some examples as to why you may not trust the FBI. We just talked about Hunter Biden and the selective prosecution. Don't know if you know this, but the FBI, DOJ, CIA, they all kind of go hand in hand in how they selectively prosecuted Donald Trump. So some reasons you may not trust the FBI, and some reasons you may want someone to head up the FBI and actually fundamentally change it as opposed to continue with the status quo. All right, remember James Comey refused to prosecute verifiable criminal Hillary Clinton.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
Bullshit.
An unreasonable one, maybe.
There's so much evidence. We're not going to charge him.
Yeah. But instead, only a few years later, we're going to charge Donald Trump with fraud for devaluing, for example, for wanting to have a lower, so he could pay lower property taxes with Mar-a-Lago. And by the way, all of these involve our intelligence agencies. They're used as thugs. They're a thug enforcement arm of the government. Don't you want someone who wants to limit their scope and power? Let's just distill it to that. You want someone who wants the FBI to have all-reaching, world's most powerful genie power over everyone's life, where you can be you can be convicted of any. You realize any of you, if you're audited or someone looks into your background, they can find something. You want to be tied up in court, or do you want someone who's going to head up the FBI to say, you know what, we got to reduce this. We got to reduce the infringement of rights. Here's another reason you may not trust the FBI. Remember the Russia hoax, right? Russia, the Steele dossier, where Peter Strzok, Lisa, well, let's read some of these texts right here. They said, I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy McCabe's office, that there's no way he gets elected. I'm afraid we can't take that risk. They went on, they talked about how they needed an insurance policy. They talked about how they were going to be looking into election interference from Russia. When it was found that that wasn't the case, by any means necessary, let's make sure that Donald Trump cannot be eligible for office, or let's make sure that the public believes that this was the case. We know it was a hoax. We know it was fraudulent. There's no doubt about that. It has been admitted. That doesn't change the fact that at that moment in time, they were working against the will of the American people. Something that we have a deep personal tie to, the Nashville Manifesto. Remember this? When the shooting took place in Nashville, radicalized transgender shooter on the day of trans vengeance happened, and then no information. Kind of like the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. We still have no information.
Yeah, not sure about that.
The FBI specifically resisted any release of the manifesto, which people were demanding and crying out for, because we wanted to know why these children were killed, why they were dead, and why we were sold a false bill of goods, as though this may be some kind of a white supremacist national, which is always what they do early on. And they go, oh, different gender pronouns. You know what? Let's just not talk about this. Kash Patel specifically commented on the FBI's overreach here in the Nashville Manifesto.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out.
And I say this because he's partially right there. He's partially wrong. You did see some of the Nashville Manifesto because of you. Your support, Mug Club, Rumble Premium. You can click that button and join. We're not able to do any of this without you. The only reason you've read anything from the Nashville Manifesto and seen the motivations of a radicalized leftist transgender shooter is because we did so in spite of threats from the FBI and intelligence agencies. And by the way, they pushed back after that. And they still have not released the remainder of the manifesto. We would love to see it. We were tarred and feathered in the media as sensationalists. At first, when we released the Nashville Manifesto, you may not remember this, the mayor came out and said the FBI was going to be investigating us, and then it wasn't true. At first, they said this is not authentic. Then they said, well, okay, it's authentic, but they shouldn't have it. Then they said, well, okay, it's authentic and they have it, but you know what? We're looking into if there can be an investigation and if we can sue Mug Club Undercover. You guys remember that? So thank you, and please do continue your support because we have some more stories in the coming year, and there's no way to make it happen without you. Here's just a flashback to when we dropped this story, and I'm glad that we have someone like Kash Patel heading up these agencies because maybe we'll get to the rest of it. We have for you today, exclusively here on Louder with Crowder, courtesy of Mug Club, first look at part of the handwritten manifesto of the Nashville shooter. Dark Abyss, Death Day, March 27th, 2023. Today is the day, yes. The day has finally come. I can't believe it's here. Don't know how I was able to get this far, but here I am. I'm a little nervous, but excited too. Been excited for these past 2 weeks. There were several times I could have been caught, especially back in the summer of 2021. None of that matters now. I'm almost an hour plus 7 minutes away. Can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm ready. I hope my victims aren't. My only fear is if anything goes wrong, I'll do my best to prevent any of the sort. God, let my wrath take over my anxiety. It might be 10 minutes tops. It might be 3 to 7. It's gonna go quick. I hope I have a high death count. Ready to die. Ha ha. Signed, Aiden. almost seems like it would be relevant to the American public and certainly the families affected. So this is where we are. Look, Kash Patel, you're looking at Tulsi Gabbard, someone like RFK Jr., you're looking at these. Clean house. Let's do that. Let's make this the clean house administration. And you know what? For the first time in our lifetime, and I mean this, that people have often said, and this is something I'm very excited about, and I want to know if you guys can sense this difference. We say, yeah, Democrats grow the government really huge and Republicans grow the government pretty huge, just slightly less, and they grow it in different ways. This may be the first time where, as opposed to the rule, which has always been government grows, we may actually shrink it for the first time in our lifetime when you're talking about DOGE, when you're talking about efficiency, when you're talking about looking at these systems that exist, these institutions. For years, decades, you were told, trust your institutions. For the first time, you have people who will be heading up some of these institutions who are entering into it with mistrust and the mindset of, what do we cut? What do we change? That's never happened. Republican or Democrat. And so keep your foot on the gas and keep these people accountable. I would love to see a budget, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
I would love to see an entire restructuring of the FBI, CIA, DOJ to the point where, my God, there might be some actual accountability. Maybe some limits on how long people can be entrenched into these agencies. This should be the clean house administration. If nothing else, this should be the administration where, boom, chop, go to it with an axe. What do you think?
It's like the extreme government makeover where they park the bus in front and then they pull away and like the FBI building's just gone.
Yes, exactly.
They have like the unemployment line off to the right.
Yeah, on HGTV.
Move that bus.
I just thought, what? It's gone. I thought you were going to turn it into like farmhouse chic.
We made it better. See, that's the whole point of the show.
I just thought like you do the whitewashing with the furniture so it looks like a barn house, but I have the modern amenities and I can tell people I have a barn house. What is with that now? Why is everything whitewashed? It's that barn house look. It's going to go away.
We're going back.
It's shiplap.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, I heard shiplap's out.
Well, you know what's going to happen? People are going to look back on shiplap like we look back in the 80s where everything was solid black and white in the bathrooms. I'm like, what were we thinking?
And wallpaper, yeah.
I was about to say wallpaper's
Wallpaper's
back.
the worst.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming back. Wallpaper's coming back. And by the way,
cigarette smoke in it.
Hey, you guys can take an active role. LWC tips at protonmail.com. Send in your tips. You see some fraud, you see abuse, you see corruption. We will go to jail to protect our sources. Don't know if you remember this, Nashville Manifesto, our source snug as a bug in a rug. So, we'll protect you the same way, and it's a big part of what we do. It's a big part of what you support, $99 annually. Rumble Premium, Mug Club is Rumble Premium, Rumble Premium is Mug Club, or you can try it for $9 a month. But that allows us to do more investigative work, as well as 100% more daily content, and you get everything ad-free. There's no better deal right now as far as supporting freedom on the internet and actually getting something for your dollar. Let's get to this. I'm going to give you the name. Chase Strangio. Okay.
Sounds made up.
It does. So the left.
It is.
Sounds like a Marvel villain.
Yes, it does. Like a very boring one.
Dr. Strangio.
He just does trans surgeries on kids.
What does he do? Strange thing.
Mutilates children.
He's from Europe. He doesn't put his eggs in the fridge. Strangio.
That's not what he does.
He holds the trans stone.
Yes.
He has to unlock it.
The confused stone?
Yeah. Stone of confusion.
So the left right now, they're in a kind of a civil war. You'll see a lot of people on the left who are furious about the fact that they lost this election. A lot of people, the old school people, the James Carvilles, think that the left lost because they unfortunately went too far left in all these social justice issues, trans issues were. I wouldn't even say they were at the forefront of this election. I would say they were in the background, but Americans were tired of it. No, this is what the party is actually about. So you have people on the left right now who want to get away from that. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. They cannot. They cannot get away from it because of the case right now that will be before the Supreme Court. One thing I want you to remember is never allow the left to gaslight you and say, why are you turning this into an issue? No one's talking about the trans in sports. No one's talking about children transitioning. Why are you making this an issue? Well, hold on a second. What's before the Supreme Court? And how does that affect me as a parent and my child if they want to get gender reassignment surgery or puberty blockers? Wait, are you actually trying to bring this right now as a civil rights case to the Supreme Court and take my children away? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. So right now, That's the reality. But when the left says we need to sort of avoid these issues, what they mean is they need to lie to you about it. They need to lie to you and hide the woke kind of cultural issues that they have been spearheading, that they have made their raison d'etre. They have to hide it to trick you long enough to win an election. That's really what they mean. And you hear them constantly now saying, we got to focus a little bit less on the woke stuff. Lie about it. I think
what a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, right, and then re-elected him.
What do you make of that compilation, and was woke overdone?
This is like trying to wash clothes that's got smoke all over them. You can't get the stench out.
The Democrats need to focus less on who is woke and more on who is broke.
I was just speaking authentically as a parent.
Good rhyme,
about
man.
one of many issues where Democrats are just out of touch with the majority of Americans. And I stand by my position, even though I may not have used exactly the right words.
Okay, good. So what the left means when they're saying this is a solution is to abandon that because it's un-American. It's a violation of basic parental rights and, by the way, human rights. Let's move forward where we all get on the same somewhat sensible page and we're disagreeing on maybe foreign policy and taxes. Oh, no, wait, sorry. No. They mean lie to you. Because Wednesday, the Supreme Court is going to be hearing the Biden administration's challenge to the Tennessee law that bans transgender care, meaning reassignment and hormone therapy for minors. So this Wednesday, the Supreme Court is going to be hearing a case where the Biden administration took it upon themselves to say, hey, a state should have no right to allow parents to make decisions for their children as it relates to puberty blockers, sex changes, etc. You really think that this party can straighten up and fly right? Let me tell you what this case is. It's U.S. versus, I want to make sure I get the name right, U.S. versus Scrimeti, and it's going to be argued by a trans ACLU lawyer. I'm going to get into this case and who this lawyer is, because you're going to be hearing quite a bit about this person. Chase Strangio, which brings us to our first installment, likely first of many, of Strangio Things.
Looks like a French pervert. Looks like Pepe Le Pew in real life. It looks like a costume you'd buy to be Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, you see,
just needs a striped suit and a Tommy gun. What a stupid person that is in real life.
Man.
Oh my God.
We need to start the segment.
Well, it gets even worse. Trust me, you're gonna have plenty of opportunities because this is the lawyer. This is the lawyer from the ACLU. Isn't it funny? American Civil Liberties Union. This person would gladly support the intelligence agencies being involved in the government taking your children away if you say no puberty blockers for my son. If you say no chemical castration for my boy, no suturing up the vagina of my daughter because she's only 10, this person, this lawyer from the ACLU would gladly have them taken away from you. Isn't that fun? So let's hear Chase Strangio describe what this case before the Supreme Court is about.
Next week, Chase Strangio will make history as the first openly transgender lawyer to make oral arguments before the Supreme Court
Dinosaur
as the
News Network here.
justices consider Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming hormone therapies for transgender minors.
Thank you for having me. We are before the Supreme Court
That's
at
her
this
voice?
moment when transgender people are under so much scrutiny. And this comes on the tail of 24 states banning evidence-based medicine for transgender adolescents.
Okay, so a couple of things. First off, you're going to hear this term a lot, evidence-based medicine. It almost should be an antonym because it's the opposite of evidence-based anything, just like we heard that during COVID.
Yeah.
This, just to be clear, this case, if it were to go the wrong way, it's no longer a state issue. You understand that what happened in Tim Walz' estate, Minnesota, would be national. States would not have permission to ban transgender surgery or hormone replacement therapy for minors. So don't tell me that we're making this an issue. Just to be clear about what this case is. Let me also give you one more example before I get into this. You may not know this. It's very important to read dissenting opinions when you're talking about a Supreme Court case. So as it relates to firearms, Heller versus DC, the dissenting opinions, right? You now have, congratulations, you have the right to own guns. I know what you're thinking. Well, no leftist wants to stop that. They just want magazine capacity bans. No. The dissenting opinions in Heller versus DC said you actually have no right to own a firearm as a private citizen whatsoever. So if they had ruled the other way on Heller versus DC, you wouldn't be allowed to own a gun if your governor said they didn't like it. So when you have to distill it, when you actually have to get down to the legal case and ruling, you do end up with a binary decision. Where are we here? This is going to go one of two ways. States can ban transitioning care, meaning surgery, hormone replacement therapy, depending on the state. States have the right to say we won't do that in our state with minors. Or the other side, which Chase Strangio is arguing, is actually at a federal level, all minors should be able to get the kind of care that they claim they demand, and the state would have the right to remove these minors from your care as a parent if you don't allow it. It's going to go one of those two ways. Don't let them tell you that you're making this an issue. So let's get into this case a little bit, the evidence-based medicine. This specifically challenges the Tennessee law that bans hormone replacement therapy and puberty blockers. Now, if you think that I'm doing a straw man or the intellectual fallacy of slippery slope, rewind, 5 years. Did you ever think we were going to have this conversation, that there would be a Supreme Court case on hormone therapy and puberty blockers for your, not giving them to your children would be a violation of human rights? Remember when they said we're not coming for your kids? Remember when they said this has nothing to do with but this has nothing to do with sports. We're not saying that biological males should be allowed in contact sports. Remember that? Yeah. Well, we're already down that slippery slope. So this is about puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapy. You really think that it would be a bridge too far as gender reassignment surgery? Comment below. Let me know if you think I'm just way out in left field. And this, of course, this law would involve fines for doctors who violate the order. It would be a complete overhaul of our healthcare system that would include transitioning minors. Okay, so the law that was signed in 2023, just to be clear, Governor Bill Lee, we're talking about Tennessee, it bans care if it is for the purpose of, I want to read you what the law says. 1, enabling a minor to identify with or live as a purported identity inconsistent with the immutable characteristics of the reproductive system that define the minor as male or female, as determined by anatomy and genetics existing at the time of birth, meaning the minor's sex, or treating purported discomfort or distress from a discordance between the minor's sex and asserted identity. So really what this law in Tennessee says is, no, we're not going to be giving transition drugs to minors. We're not going to be doing that. That's effectively.
And look, I want people to look at the wordplay that's going on here too, right? So when you say minor is kind of a middle term for me. Minor, like I understand exactly what minor means, but we're not really just talking about like 14, 15, 16-year-old people that would be considered minors. What he used as a term was adolescence, which I think is a murky term for a lot of people. You understand what it means, but it's not the same. Here's the term we should be using: children. Every single time, use that word children, because that is what they mean. Don't take my word for it. Later on, when we get to a clip, there's a kid that talks about this in Texas that was at age 5 when they started having some kind of ramifications from this. So every time you see minor, adolescents come out of those guys' mouth, it's children that we're talking about. That drives the point home.
What about non-voters?
Yeah, good point.
Can't even vote for the right to save themselves.
Yeah, so let's go through the claims that are being made here, because this is what's at stake at the Supreme Court. I think it'll rule the sensible way, but what's at stake is your right to be a parent. So here's a claim, though. And this is how they're building their case. Dr. Strangio argues that the law not allowing transitionary care for children is sex discrimination, and that really, actually, trans treatment, all of this, puberty blockers, is completely safe.
So if you take, for example, a transgender adolescent boy, he cannot receive testosterone to live consistent with his male identity because he was assigned female at birth. Had he been assigned male at birth, he could receive that same medication for that same purpose. That is sex discrimination, and Tennessee has to justify it, which the district court concluded that Tennessee just simply did not. The courts across the country that have actually looked at the evidence have repeatedly found that the claims about the harms of this treatment just do not hold up to even the slightest bit of scrutiny. But of course, we lost in the appellate court. We're now before the Supreme Court making the case that this is just a plain and simple example of sex discrimination, and the fact that it's sex discrimination against trans people doesn't make it any less unconstitutional.
By the way, also, this person believes it's unconstitutional to ban biological males from competing in female contact sports. So we'll get to a couple of things here. But first off, this is the trick they play, right? Evidence-based medicine say the evidence just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. There's some truth to that, in that we don't have a lot of long-term evidence in the sense that we have not put young girls on testosterone for long enough to know, and enough members, by the way, enough participants to know the long-term ill health effects. But to act as though we don't have evidence for what takes place as it relates to supraphysiological doses of testosterone is absurd. It is one of the most well-documented subjects of study in medical performance literature as it relates to performance enhancement drugs. It's not even up for debate. So let's go through this. The first truth. Puberty blockers are unbelievably unsafe. Okay? This person is lying. This person is lying to you, Strangio. In March, Britain's NHS completely stopped prescribing puberty blockers, saying that there is not enough evidence to support the safety or clinical effectiveness of PSH to make the treatment routinely available at this time. And that may be due to the fact that all the research we have available shows that puberty blockers can decrease bone density. That makes sense if you know what they do. Decrease fertility, stunt bone growth. It could cause seizures. It can cause irreversible frozen prepubescence. More than 10,000 adverse effects have been reported by patients to the FDA after using just the puberty blocking drug Lupron. By the way, you probably know this. Lupron, which is used as a puberty was the drug we used to use to chemically castrate sex offenders.
Jeez.
When given to teenage or adolescent boys, however, well, I don't know. We don't have the science. So we do have the evidence to show that it worked as a chemical sterilization, a chemical castration drug to the point that it was used. What they mean to tell you is we don't have, there's no evidence that shows there are long-term ill health effects to giving it to boys because you just started. Because you just started. It doesn't mean that we don't know how the drug works and the effects that it has. It is catastrophic. Nothing good comes from this drug being given to a young boy. They are saying, let's make your children the medical experiments, and they're demanding that the Supreme Court legislate from the bench nationally. How evil can you get? Here's another truth. They say, well, we don't, for example, a girl taking testosterone, there's just the evidence doesn't hold up to scrutiny. No, that's not true. Cross-sex hormones are unbelievably dangerous, okay? Medically, it's observable. So, for example, and this is really important because we do have plenty of documentation on testosterone in men, testosterone replacement therapy, for example, if kept well within the normal ranges, could be a miracle for people who are aging or people who actually do have pituitary disorders and don't make testosterone. We know with certainty that once you get to supraphysiological doses, meaning for a man, to a performance-enhancing dose, meaning to the point that your body could not produce testosterone to this level naturally, you have increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, you have fertility problems, you have irreversible physical changes, increased risk of stroke. Again, with men, if you're taking a man from the average, we've talked about this, the average male level of testosterone in your system might be between 300 or 400 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. If you get to the point where a man is taking testosterone and that number is maybe double, oh boy, the risks go up dramatically. A woman's natural testosterone level is 10 to 70 nanograms per deciliter, meaning they would be multiplying it by 15. What these children are doing is they're taking, so if a man, for example, might take steroids, or a female bodybuilder might take steroids, they're concerned about side effects. So a female athlete taking steroids is concerned about the side effect of facial hair, vocal changes, right, male pattern baldness. These transgender individuals are taking the drugs at crazy high doses specifically to induce the side effects. Do you understand that?
Jeez. That's how we got the She-Hulk.
Yes. Yes. Here's another truth. We do know that there are a lot of other ill health effects. So this even comes straight from the NIH. Limited data are available on the adverse drug reactions of gender-affirming hormone therapy, mainly due to the lack of population-based studies with adequate controls. What they're saying is we don't have evidence in young girls taking testosterone today to know the ill health effects by the time they are 30. We do know. Does anyone here believe that we don't know the side effects of taking steroids? And again, Arnold, look at Mr. Olympia. They're not taking the level of anabolic hormones that these girls are taking to become boys, let alone puberty blockers.
Pubescent girls.
I don't even understand how this case got to where it is right now, right? Because he said in that video, it's this whole thing rests on the ability for boys to be able to get this treatment and girls not to be able to get this treatment, right? Essentially, that's what he's saying. You're discriminating based on sex because they were assigned. I don't know. The doctor had eyes and I guess assigned a gender at birth.
Signed by who? God.
Yes, exactly.
Funny, they believe in God.
It's not the same drug for the same purpose. Just to put a fine point on it, it may be the same drug. For the purpose with boys, it's to put it in the normal range that it should be in. Right. There is a deficiency there in the body, and the body will do very well with it in that normal range. For a girl, it is to make it something completely outside of what the body can actually handle. Right. And it brings on these kinds of side effects. I don't understand how judges can't see that. Thankfully, the appellate court apparently did, but I guess they didn't hear the case on the merits because he said every court that's heard the case on the merits has decided that we're right. Yeah. Right. So I just don't understand how it's even getting this far and how you can make that argument without looking at yourself and going, yeah, I'm kind of lying here.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that person looks at themselves and says
all.
they're attractive.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's true.
And they tell you, why are you making this an issue? No one's making. They go, we want to get back to the issues. Remember that the new transgender representative, Nancy Mace, I forgot the name. Nancy Mace doesn't want to have, taking a dump in the ladies' room. Like, oh, I'm here to represent the people of Delaware. I'm here to talk about the issues. Oh, okay, great. So you don't support this going before the Supreme Court and kids being potentially taken away from their parents or doctors being fined for, actually honoring the Hippocratic Oath. Well, look, that's just the courts are going to decide it. I just want, okay.
Right.
Have you supported it? Have you supported it? Have you supported the complete upending of our norms and the idea, is there any more accepted societal norm than men and women are different? The left wants to do away with that and then tell you don't trust your institutions. So who is this person, this attorney? Chase Strangio. This is a woman-to-man trans, in case you couldn't tell, co-director of the ACLU's LGBT and HIV project. No idea how LGBT and HIV are connected. Wow. Represented Chelsea Manning in challenging the military transgender ban, made us safe for a more effective fighting force, and was listed in Time Magazine's top 100 most influential Zs of 2020.
Right. It's incredibly important to have trans lawyers litigating trans cases. If there are no trans lawyers, there's oftentimes no trans people participating in a dialogue about whether and how trans people should exist.
Okay, so Strangio. Also, let me just go through so you can know who this person is who wants to bring this to the Supreme Court. And by the way, it's a very important tool in the toolbox to the left. This person, Strangio, also thinks that protecting kids is actually an attempt, and this is what they do. They make you feel guilty. You want to protect kids? You don't think kids should be? Well, okay. What that actually means is you want to kill trans people.
There was this rhetoric that they utilized saying that, well, these are kids, we have to protect them. They don't know, what they're doing. Of course, that doesn't really hold water in any sense. These pieces of legislation don't start and end with trans youth. You cannot make us untrans unless you make us not alive.
Okay. See, I just thought that I was not allowing you to take a controlled substance that would cause irreparable harm and be medical malpractice. I understand now. You're saying that I'm a murderer.
Yes, murdering. Oh, actually, we just want you to wait until you're 18, and then you can make your own decision.
Hey, we'd have arguments for 17.
Yeah, in some states, just depending. Yeah.
And by the way, Strangio, female to male, or woman to man, whatever, transgender, is also, again, this is part of the dogma. Very, very, no idea how this person's affected by it, but pro-abortion.
We all need abortion because we cannot be free if we don't have freedom over our bodies, our self-determination, and our reproductive autonomy.
Gosh, looks like an uncool Travis Barker.
like a slingshot Kelly.
Yes. Looks like when Kat McKinnon was spoofing Justin Bieber's Calvin Klein ad.
Like Adam Lepine?
Yes.
Lil Peen? I don't know.
Lil Peen. Rapper.
This is going before the Supreme Court.
Yes.
I want to argue on behalf of the American people. Just can you imagine if the founding fathers tried to look at the Supreme Court case? They go, okay, well, who was the lawyer? What in God's name is that thing? So Strangio,
The wig's better than mine.
Strangio, who just, by the way, just wants to make the case heard. Is not an activist. Also a founder of Trans Santa, trans themed, because I've always thought, as it relates to Christmas charities, there aren't enough transgender themed ones.
I wanted to just first thank everyone for your continued support of Trans Santa, a program that allows us to center the voices and experience of trans youth and enable them to get gifts during the holiday season.
Wait. They're not getting gifts?
Yeah.
Is it because they're trans? You're telling us right now that Santa skips their house?
Well, I'm looking at the list. Look at the list. Apparently, they've all been naughty.
Well,
because putting them on steroids has given them a little bit of the rage.
Or, family members might have not agreed with their decision.
Might not have agreed with their decision.
Anymore, so.
Yeah. And Trans Santa, just so not going to be going down your chimney. It'll be crawling up your chimney with a sigmoidoscope. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
It's a little smoky.
Yes.
Rudolph the brown-nosed reindeer.
That's not soot.
I know what you're thinking. Are you implying sexual deviancy? Yes. Yes, I am.
What does Trans Santa? Of course. Does he leave you presents in your ball sack hanging in the mantle?
And by the way, this Strangio also got with another girl who turned guy, Elliot Page, formerly Ellen Page, to send this message to trans children.
Hi, I'm Elliot Page.
I'm Chase Strangio. We just wanted to send a message of love to trans youth. We're here. We're thinking of you.
And
get him off the screen.
We support you, and we've got your back.
Yeah, why do trans females to males always choose to look like a douchebag guy?
Yeah. It's always a douchey dude.
Yes, it's never like you come out and like, oh, you look like, like a Gregory Peck. It's always the Chaz Bono with the chin strap beard and the chains and the tattoos and the Diddy Kong flat-billed baseball cap.
Yes, the white rapper. It's the Malibu's most unwanted.
Yes,
really.
Exactly. It's like they always do that. It's it's just like how trans men, when they identify as women, all of a sudden, this idea of gender stereotypes that radically offends feminists is fine. The man dresses up like a Barbie. These girls, they dress up like douchebag guys who no real men would respect. This person also, just the cherry on top, refers to trans people or older trans people as, this is going to be before the Supreme Court, this person, as transcestors.
Today, we are choosing to build upon the legacies of our transcestors.
Dodge the 42% attempted suicide rate.
Yes.
Pre or post.
I'm so proud of my transcestors.
Oh my gosh. How many transcestors do you have?
Clip that.
Clip that. That sounded like a clip. Clip that.
The founding mothers to fathers. So.
Founding Z's.
So what would this case set as far as a precedent? And why are you making it an issue? Well, this would basically prevent any states from passing laws banning medical transitions of minors. That's really what we're talking about. They would declare it sex-based discrimination and unconstitutional to deny a child gender transition, right? And by the way, it would basically give approval, which the court shouldn't be doing medically, give medical approval to something that, of course, deserves no medical approval, the idea of gender affirming care. And by that we mean when they say gender affirming, what they really mean to say is injecting chemicals, injecting drugs and hormones that fly in the face of your biology and your body will try to reject forever for the rest of your life. You understand that, right? You understand that, right? You understand that the male body should not have estrogen in it to a level that a female would. You understand that even if women, by the way, their estrogen levels go high above the natural threshold, it's one of the first anti-breast cancer drugs they will give them as some kind of estrogen inhibitor or aromatase inhibitor or estrogen blocker. You understand that, right? You understand that the female body is designed to use the term homeostasis, to keep a certain testosterone level within a range that allows a female to still be a female and maintain fertility and feminine features. You understand that your body actually has a natural state, almost a God-given state that you are trying to alter and your body continually rejects. You also understand when you get to transition surgery that if you create a fake vagina, you have to constantly reopen it with a medical device. It's basically a glorified, less fun dildo. Otherwise, your body tries to close it as a wound. You understand that your body tries to reject the appendage when you put on a fake penis. So let's take all of this and thrust it upon children. That's what's before the Supreme Court. Why are you making it an issue? This is literally the Biden-Harris administration bringing it before the Supreme Court. It's going to be heard Wednesday, and it's being argued by the most, and this is someone who's chosen by the Biden administration, the most radical trans activist who you can picture. That's what's happening Wednesday. Make it an issue. Make it an issue.
Is it unreasonable for me as a parent to be concerned about a slippery slope here? Like, is it unreasonable for me to be concerned that, well, this will lead to other things that we'll let minors do?
No, it's not.
Are we going to lower the consent age?
Well, you would think so. Hey, these people are making...
Am I crazy for worrying about that?
No, think about it. These kids are making decisions that will permanently alter their sex lives when they don't have the ability to consent to sex.
That's exactly the point that exactly. You said it way better than but...
Think about it. It's like, hey, you ever had a climax? No. Oh, okay. So you don't know if you're going to like it. You don't know if it's going to be good. I'm going to tell you, spoiler alert, they're pretty good. But you may never be able to have one. Why? Well, it's tough. When you cut off your dick, 9-year-old, I don't know if you know this, but at some point, you're going to be fond of that dick. You're going to want it because things feel good. And you know what? Hopefully in a monogamous relationship with it, no. We're going to let you cut it off and permanently damage your sex life, which you have yet to even begin because you're not at the age of consent. Think about that. That is what is before the Supreme Court this Wednesday. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it on the right. People on the left are galvanized and thrilled about this. Just go check out Reddit politics or the Democrat underground. And that's been, I don't have any more in me, this week's Strangio Things.
I forgot that's at the end.
I know. We're going to be able to reuse that.
It comes up like it's Darth Maul or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if the ACL sues because they do that.
That's Vecna.
And we're going to continue, by the way, talking about Donald Trump saying no to BRICS, and we'll get into what that means. But hey, if you want to keep watching this and also chat with us about your Thanksgiving, click the Rumble Premium button right there. You get us, Nick DiPaolo, every day. The Friday show that you don't get here on on Rumble Standard. You get Mr. Guns and Gear. Now you have Dr. Disrespect. You get everything ad-free. One portal you don't need. Hey, if you have a Rumble Premium account, you keep watching. You don't have to. You don't have to do a damn thing. It just keeps playing. If you're not on Rumble Premium, well, the stream will end relatively soon, and you're going to miss all the stuff that we absolutely would not say lest we get banned from the internet for life. But thank you, Rumble. All right. What did I miss? Okay, right here. Oh, that's right.
I'd rather see Rumble Santa than Trans Santa.
Yeah, so would I.
That'd be kind of a cool Santa. Probably drinks Monster or rock stars.
Yeah. Like a pirate who just takes over people's houses for Christmas. It's fantastic.
Don't forget to leave your rock stars and shroom gummies for Santa. Santa's been trying a little bit of micro-dosing. You hear that?
Now tell your parents to get rid of your seed oils.
Yes. Oh, no, I can't. This year Santa's gone carnivore. I'm sorry.
Your kids are cursing. Well, Rumble Santa said I can say anything I want.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he does. So let's go to this BRICS. Actually, last few years, there's been this new axis, for lack of a better word. China, Russia, a few other nations, right? That have sort of been leading against the West, and includes North Korea, Iran, Russia, China. I'm trying to think. Brazil.
All the players.
So the most public sign of that we see right now of China and Russia's push to sort of de-Americanize the world. And Donald Trump he gave a perfect Trump response at this point. And thank God that you have someone like that. Can you imagine these stories right now if Kamala Harris was going to be next? It wasn't just about Joe Biden. It was about 8 years unfettered. This would have gotten so bad so quickly.
Yeah.
But here's actually a little bit of backstory on BRICS, China, Russia trying to un-Americanize the world.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is hosting a gathering of world leaders for the BRICS Summit of Emerging Economies today.
BRICS for those emerging economies. It comes amid Western sanctions and an international arrest warrant following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine in 2022.